do this.
Let's do this. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
How's it going?
We're really hoping all of you out there are doing okay because
Quarantined?
This is an intense situation we are in.
Really tense.
I mean, like, every day brings like more stress because more things are getting closed and like, so when when did you start taking this like really seriously?
I'm on anti-anxiety medications, so
You're
now
like,
it's all coming out. So, not saying it's been like zippity doo dah, but it's not quite. I'm having a hard time like panicking because I feel like my medication doesn't let me panic, and so I feel like I'm handling it a lot better than I would if I didn't take medication. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think probably most of America could use anti-anxiety medication right now.
And I'm just destigmatizing medication because I think there's a lot of stigma around it, and so it's like I'm very open about it.
Yeah, there shouldn't be. I mean, honestly, it's like a lot of people rely on it, and it definitely shouldn't be something anyone is ashamed of.
Right. And I think it's like, before you judge the reason why people take it, wow, this is getting intense, but like, don't ask them like, oh, why do you take it? Just like kind of have a more understanding. I think especially where we live in Boulder. Oh, yeah. This is Family Karma Cast, by the way.
By the way, this is Family Karma Cast.
I'm Deanna Bianco.
And I'm Indra Raj. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. And we'll stop talking about medication. But I think especially like right now, the reason why I'm not like freaking out too much is because it's like my medication just kind of like I there's only how like anxious I can get.
Yeah. I mean, I think that
hashtag no regrets.
I no regrets. And I think I wish that I had some of that right now because I feel like I've had this underlying like feeling of being upset that I've kind of just been like pushing aside because things have been so crazy. Like,
yeah, how do you
logistically feel? Well, I just feel like I'm tired and I can't catch a break. And
is your bra on?
I am wearing a bra, but that's because I'm nursing, and I literally always wear a bra because I have to.
Again, bra and pants are optional.
Yeah,
and I'm not wearing a bra.
We hope all of you out there in your pajamas, and because we're all going to be in our pajamas for quite a while.
Well, let's be real. I think that the one thing that kind of has jumped up at me is I realize I don't have a good sweatpants collection because in my head there used to be a stigma around wearing sweatpants. Like I always like kind of prided myself because I lived in New York City, and there you're kind of going to bodegas, and I would always be like, oh, I'm always going to put on my pants, my jeans and stuff to go to the bodega or just like walk my dog. And now I'm just kind of like, fuck that. Like I just want to be comfy and cozy. And
let's remember that we live in Boulder, which is like the athleisure capital of the world.
Yeah. And I'm not definitely in that realm. Like but I do want a pair of sweatpants. And so if you could actually write us, because Indra, how's your sweatpant game?
I upped it when I had my baby last year because on maternity, this feels like maternity leave on steroids. Yeah, because I really I can't even go anywhere with my baby.
Did you take him for like a walk around the park or anything?
Oh yeah, we're doing walks. So here's my question: if we have this whole like social distancing, yeah, we have that. But then like San Francisco just announced that this stay in place situation. And I think my friend just texted me
what does that
like
mean?
The San Francisco fire department just called her to say like you can't leave your house unless you absolutely need to.
What?
So like if we can't go on walks, I'm sorry. I have two very large dogs who will destroy my house.
I don't think that'll happen. Like I've been running every day and I've been out on the trails, and the trails are bopping.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm saying that like that's now, but things could change really fast. Colorado's number of cases is like the fifth
Really?
most. Yeah, like we're kind of up there in terms of like issues with this virus.
What's Boulder
So
County like?
I don't know. I think that last I checked, there were like 3 confirmed cases. I'm sure there's like the thing is like there's the people that they know, but because testing has been so bad,
Oh,
nobody
yeah.
really knows how many people have it. And
I
I
also
just feel like,
appreciate the president saying, "Yeah, I'm going to get tested," and then it's like has he disclosed the results, and do we
oh yeah,
trust
he
him?
did. He did, and he doesn't have
Do
it.
we trust him though?
I mean, I'm gonna hope that someone around him has like some moral something.
Gosh.
And anyway, we're all in times like this, we all need something light to kind of keep us going, keep us smiling. And if you haven't started Family Karma on Bravo yet, you should do it. I have a friend who just told me that episodes are available on Amazon Prime if you're a Prime
Really?
member. Yeah, so you can check it out there.
The
And
first episode's on YouTube too.
yeah, so you can watch it.
Hashtag no excuses.
Hashtag no excuses. And
Hashtag
then
get on it.
and subscribe to our podcast, and also rate and review if you can, because we want to get more people to find it. Yeah, we're just keeping it light here. We've been binging reality TV.
Gosh. We're going to cover also the show Love is Blind, which is
Yeah.
we're watching it at the same time, and we're both only up to episode 4, and we haven't talked about it yet. And as much as I want to do a deep dive into that, I know we have to let's get through Family Karma, and not that that's like,
Let's just get through
let's
it.
just talk about Family Karma, and then we're gonna get to Love is Blind. What do you think?
That sounds great.
Intro
Family
with her
Karma.
notes.
Okay, you know what? I have to say, I'm sorry that I was so crazy about the notes last time.
I love it.
Well, I listened to a Bachelor recap podcast where they like do a really good job of like talking through every scene.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh, this is too much. But then I was like, you know what? At least I know they're covering everything.
That's true.
So I backed off on the notes a little bit
It's
this
good
time,
that,
though.
I didn't take a single note.
Oh, well, then there we go.
I was kind of live tweeting, though. So if you follow us at Family Karma Cast, I'm in charge of tweeting. And I texted you last night because someone contacted me and was like, hey, I really want to listen to your podcast. And then like 20 minutes later, she followed up with, oh, I thought by your tweets you were both 16. And I said, no, ma'am, I'm almost 40. But thank you very much.
You know what? I'm glad we sound like 16-year-olds.
Isn't that like through Twitter? And then it's like, do we sound like grown-ass adults on the podcast? I'm like, God, what is wrong with me that I'm tweeting like a 16-year-old? But I'll take the compliment.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're doing something right. That's what I'm going to say. You're doing something right.
I mean, yes.
Anyway, should we talk about the episode?
Oh my gosh. I have like a couple things to zero in on, so I'll let you start.
Okay, well, so they started it off kind of where we left off at the last one, which was at the Diwali function. Mm-hmm. And there's this whole drama with Lopa auntie and Vishal and Richa and like all the aunties surrounding this relationship, which is kind of like, I feel like it's sad for Richa and Vishal because like they obviously really care what their families think and they want them to get along, and they just don't.
But do you think Richa has sat her mother down and been like, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do, if you say this, these are the consequences? Or do you think it's just not like that in Indian culture?
Do you think she said that to
Lopa?
Oh, no. I mean, like, there's a whole, I think I said at one point, there's a whole, like, respecting your elders thing.
Right.
And, like, you, like, family is really important, and you are going to be spending a lot of time with these people. So you do want to get along and on some level. And it just seems like, I don't know. So there's, like, this whole drama between Lopa and Reshma. And then Chitra, who's Anisha's mom, gets in the middle of it, and like she's better friends with Vishal's mom. So it's a whole issue.
I know.
They talk about it more later in the episode, but obviously this is going to be a huge like drama point.
I think the hardest part, and I'm not defending Lopa, is the other two aunties have each other's back. And it feels like no one has Lopa's side. I'm not saying Lopa is right.
Yeah.
But I am saying... obviously she's leaning on, it seems like, not obviously, but she's leaning on Brian's dad because she kind of needs someone on her side in that situation.
I totally agree. I feel like I do feel bad for her. Like she doesn't live there full time and she doesn't have like a bunch of people on her side. And she's obviously like a strong, independent woman. Of course.
I mean, no wonder why she's like going straight for the bar. You know, that's me. I mean, I take anti-anxiety medicine. Yeah. Me at a social event, I'm like, you know, laying it on pretty heavy.
Totally. I mean, I think that like she's kind of like, you know, whatever. They're just going to have to like, what did she say? It was something, she got like kind of defensive at one point.
But do you blame her? You know what I mean?
No, I don't. I think that she has a lot of.
Again, I'm not a Lopa stan, but it's hard being like the newer person and the odd man out.
I mean, I'm into Lopa doing Jaeger bomb shots.
Oh,
Jaeger
hell
bombs.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. That's totally where you'd find me, is next to Lopa. Like, yes.
Yeah. And then, like, Brian's dad goes and talks to Brian, and he's like, man, I'm terrified of the woman sitting next to me.
I mean, Brian's parents, like, Brian's family, I know no family's perfect, but I'm like, those parents seem... like really great parents. A lot of these parents. I'm very jealous of all these kids that have these wonderful parents on the show.
Yeah, they're obviously like such tight-knit groups, at least the parents that we've seen, because there's some parents we haven't seen, which is sort of interesting.
Right.
But so the other thing that happens at Diwali, which I thought was kind of something to note, is that like Monica and Brian are sitting there and she's like, I'm going to find you a wifey. And it's like their dynamic is like
awkward.
Kind of,
it's weird. It's strange.
It's not even awkward. It's like I thought this episode was illuminating because we find out a little bit more about their history. Like I just assumed that she's just been pining after him, and like the minute he comes around, she's going to be like, "Yes, I'll totally be with you." But it turns out that like she's kind of sick of his shit, I think.
Good. And you can't change a person. Like I said in the previous podcast episode, it's like this isn't, I think as women, we're taught to believe that life is like a rom-com.
Yeah.
And like the hot guy comes around to you. And
yeah, like it works out in the end and there should be all this like strife and whatever.
And life and romance and relationship should be a lot easier than that.
Absolutely. And this is like, I think I said this last week, but I kind of compared their relationship to Peter and Madison's relationship on The Bachelor.
Which we found out didn't work out.
Yeah, they broke up 2 days after that whole like shit show on live TV, which was like everyone called that. And I just see a lot of parallels. Like I think that Monica, and if they're together now, like power to you guys.
Because like, how old is Monica now? Is she like in her early 20s?
I think she's like in her early to mid 20s and he's like 27. No, actually, sorry, they're the same age. They've been in school together for like years.
Okay, so she's 27. I hope she's just kind of dated around because...
see, did they say something about that? I feel like maybe they did.
I'm just wondering because I don't know. It's like, I think Brian's really handsome and whatever, but...
he's a player.
He's a player. And in my experience, in my later years, being as old as I am, I just think I've tried to love someone who didn't like love me as much, or like be like, oh, this guy will come around to certain emotions. And I just really don't believe that it works out like that.
No, you kind of you have to meet, and I do think they have a lot of mutual respect and love for each other.
100%.
So, like, I could see it working out, but it does seem like Brian has kind of like dangled these carrots in front of her. Like later on, when they go to the pumpkin patch and they're talking, he's like, "Well, maybe it could work out," and she's like, "You've done this before," and then it's just like back to you, like partying and hitting on other girls and all this stuff, and like, I'm not interested. I don't want to hear it. And yeah, I was like, kind of like, okay, yeah. Good. I'm glad that you're not like just taking this. The thing is, like, he's clearly a player. We find out that he's like only dated white girls before.
How did you feel about that?
I'm not surprised. I think that like
what
that's an interesting thing is like I thought it was interesting that they talked about like, well, I only date Indian women, or like I only date like white girls, or I'm only interested in this type. Like, it's kind of an interest for me personally. Like, I feel like I grew up in such a white place that like, and just on TV and everything, everyone was white. So like the definition of like beauty was white. Mm-hmm. So I've always been more attracted to non-Indian people because that's what I've seen.
Have you ever been on a date with an Indian man?
No, not that I know of. Like maybe by accident. Yeah. Nope, never actually. And I always say that like, oh, you know, maybe I'm not attracted to Indian men because they all remind me of like my brothers because those are the only other really Indian crazy men in my life.
Yeah.
Which is like pretty fucked up, right? Like I
think it makes sense if you're surrounded by in a white community and the only like people you're kind of surrounded by that are Indian, if it's your family, the association makes sense.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool to see this community. I was reading the New Yorker wrote an article about the show, and they made a really good point about like how a lot of Indian Americans who have made TV or movies up to now, like Mindy Kaling or Aziz Ansari or the guy who made Meet the Patels, like there's always like a white love story, like you know, there's always like a white person involved. And that this is one of the first times where it's like, and that it's just the Indian community being the Indian community and like hanging out with each other. And like, it doesn't have to involve what the stereotypical version of America, because like this is a part of America and they're like shining a light on it. And that's kind of cool and unique for TV.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I lived in New York City, so that was kind of my introduction and when I was around Indian people, because I grew up in like mostly white neighborhoods. And I told you I dated a couple Indian men. And but just seeing it as a viewer of a reality show and being completely like submerged in that community. And especially I think that there's something appealing for me because it being in Miami, especially because in my head, like, and maybe it's because I used to watch Miami Vice and stuff, is, you know what I mean? Is there's this like something very polished and beautiful about Miami.
Yeah.
And then putting like this culture and these beautiful people down like in that setting and just watching it on television, it feels like a little bit of like sparkle glitter. Not saying there's no substance, but it's just all the shots are beautiful.
That's probably part of why they made the show. I mean,
they didn't Miami, choose. You're thinking,
yeah, they didn't choose like unattractive, non-glitzy, glammy people. They chose like,
right, yeah. I mean,
a
it's
group
like
of friends who are like very glitzy,
well
dressed,
and take care of themselves. And Vishal's, you know, shaving his chest and stuff, and it's so cute.
And his butt.
I know, and bleaching his. We made that up. He doesn't.
And
do
I
that.
got bleach on my.
And I got bleach on my
t-shirt.
But the cutest thing when Anish was like, and I like shaved his chest. Or and the thing is, which is different from the housewives, is these people like are so bonded. The housewives, they kind of put them together.
And like make them hang out.
Yeah. And it's like when Anish was saying that, it's like you could tell that these people loved each other and they have such a shared history.
Yeah, totally. Like there's real friendships, like years long friendships, right. Which is like really cool.
Which is, I want to talk about Bali.
Okay, but wait, can we talk about Lourdes first?
I tweeted, I was like, her in her green suit. And then Anish was like, Zara. she tweeted me. What?
Oh, Anisha. Oh my gosh. Anisha DM'd me. She gave me some inside info.
What'd she say?
About Grandpa.
Grandpa goes to
Guess how old Grandpa
75.
Is. No. Higher.
82.
Higher.
What?
Yeah, keep going.
85.
Higher.
What?
Yeah.
What? How old is 88?
Yes.
What?
Can you believe it?
No.
And her grandma is 80.
What?
I mean, Grandpa is killing it. I'm sorry.
Grandpa's like smoking hot.
But okay, so apparently he orders spicy buffalo wings because he doesn't like carbs. And he avoids social media because he can't hear very well. So we won't get any Instagram following from Grandpa.
Well, hopefully she'll do the Instagram stories with him.
She did do some.
Did she?
And I think I missed them. But she said, and then she also told us a little bit about why she moved back, which we learned a little bit more in the episode. She said that everything was feeling stagnant in New York and nothing was changing. So she thought she'd kind of change it up herself. And then, so she didn't move back for the show, actually.
Like
2 weeks after she got back is when they were like, okay, let's do it.
They started
it was kind
casting.
of like, yeah. So it was just a twist of fate, I guess.
And there's something like that is so true about living in New York and things become stagnant. I feel like I can say for myself when I was living there, because I lived there for almost 14 years. And I was always like planning how I was going to move out. I mean, the city, I love it so much. And it's probably my favorite place in the whole world. But like, it's just hard. It's hard living.
It sucks you in. And
it sucks you in.
You know, my theory about it, I was only there for 3 years. But even after 3 years, it was hard to leave. And I think that's because you like get used to this rat race type of life. And you're like just in it. And you're like, and you convince yourself that like living in a small, shitty apartment is great. And like,
and there are like really great things. Like there are things that happen in New York City that do not happen anywhere else. And I look back on my time and I'm like, that was like probably the best time of my life.
Totally. But there's always like, you know, there's always two sides to everything.
Oh, 100%. Like, you know, anywhere else you don't get on a subway and someone spits in your face and you're like, well, I'm just going to carry that through the rest of the day.
Totally. But so we find out that she was in a relationship with this guy Vishnu for 12 years.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I want to know more about
so many questions. And if he pops up, I want him to pop up and be like, hey.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Maybe that will happen. We will see. But okay, back to Lourdes.
Oh.
Anisha's
Did you like
guru.
her suit, though?
Okay, but can we yeah. You know, I didn't even notice the suit because I was laughing so much at Anisha being like, you know, I tried this guy Charles from Wyoming and it just like didn't work out.
She is so cute.
By the way, hot update from Patrick. Patrick is my partner in crime in life. My romantic partner.
Is he giving you the goss?
He's catching up on Love is Blind.
What does he say?
He just texted me, I love Cameron and Lauren. Oh. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? America loves Cameron and Lauren.
Oh
That's
my gosh.
My hot take.
I have so much to say about everything.
Well, we're going to talk about Love is Blind at the end because, yeah. But anyway, so then...
so Anisha's a queen. Like
she's so funny. I feel like she's so like cute and quirky.
Well, yeah, she's kind of like who's the one like we're gonna make it after all. Do you know who that is? Mary Tyler Moore? No, Mary Tyler Moore. She was an actress and she had the television show about being like a single girl and making it on her own. And she was like cute as can be.
Yeah. Like I sort of never have seen her shows, so I have to say.
I used to watch it late at Nick at Night, but when I was like really little. But anyway, I feel like she's like our Indian, like modern day Mary Tyler Moore. And I want that on the record because I love her. When they were driving in their golf carts, I was like,
oh my God,
give me this life. Why don't we have golf carts here? Like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but like, okay, so you live kind of like down the road a little bit, like a mile away, a half a mile away. Why wouldn't we have golf carts?
Well, that is a great question. Boulder is made for golf carting.
But I mean, Boulder is
especially in this coronavirus situation.
But I feel like
all
also
be in the open
Boulder's
air.
like the most athletic town in the world.
And then there's just a bunch of lazy people riding around on golf carts.
Can I say, I was going to buy an electric bike because I was like, look at me, I'm in Boulder, I'm athletic. And we only have like one car here.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I had this like short epiphany, like, oh, I'm just going to buy an electric bike. And I swear to God, I told like a couple people of my plan. And like, say like if I told 4 people, like 2 of them were like, what the fuck? Like, get off your lazy ass and like get a
actually bike.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And
you know what? I support the e-bike because if it means you're actually going to bike versus not bike,
I know.
Then like that's better than nothing. Am I right?
Yeah, and I feel like it's just like I have my bike from New York and it doesn't have any gears and it's a road bike and it's like getting up the hills here is like not that fun.
No, it sucks. I could actually bike to work.
Would you ever get an e-bike?
Oh yeah, except I'm never going to because the reality is like I'm not interested in like getting all those bags and shit to like tie to the back of my bike. I
know. It's so hardcore here.
I need to go to the grocery store. That's why I moved away from New York. I wanted a driveway and I wanted a car.
Well, we never said you weren't honest about it.
Well, you know, I got what I wanted, except now we're in quarantine.
I know, but like I feel like here I get a lot of dirty looks because I'll just hop in my car to go to the grocery store and everyone's on their bikes and I'm like, bitch, I lived in like New York City for almost 14 years and
you're like,
didn't own a car and like my green, is it your green thumbprint or your green footprint?
Oh my God. Can I just say right now, I am like so hot because I'm recording this really under a blanket. I guess we never said that
we're recording it under blankets for sound quality and control.
Because we're in our own separate houses, observing the social distancing as we were told to do. So we apologize if the sound quality isn't great or whatever.
We're
doing the best we can.
Topic. So Bali. Let's get back on Bali.
No, but okay.
She shows up guns blazing. Okay, yes. The healer. Lordy's.
The healer. And then there's just some stuff about like Vishal's not responding to Anisha's text.
Do you think that was set up by the producers or do you think he's just like can't be bothered?
No, I think Vishal is like really uncomfortable talking about that whole situation.
Do you think it's just in general avoidant behavior? Just like don't
and he
want to
even
do
said
this.
That he was like, I just want this to go under the rug, and I never want to talk about it, and I just want But then he's like, and I want everything to be okay and happy and have a big wedding.
Okay. Oh,
it's like
God.
you're not going to have a great wedding if you can't talk about this stuff.
I know.
So. It'll happen. Then there's like a short scene at Brian's house where like they're talking, his mom's yelling at him about his laundry.
Oh, so, okay. Do you now think he does his own laundry? I don't think he does his own laundry.
Well, I get, she was asking him about it. It doesn't seem like his mom is doing it for him.
And I don't know. And I say this as someone who married someone with a messy desk. Mm-hmm. But like I would when I first met my like husband, I walked into his room and his desk had so much shit on it, like so much shit, and it made me so anxious.
I think that's like a dude thing.
Do you think Patrick's desk is messy?
He does. It can get pretty messy, and I'm kind of like, how can you work here?
Who's cleaner, you or Patrick?
I'm not going to go there because then we're going to get in a fight about it.
Okay. Well, I'll say I am cleaner. And Andrew's just like nodding his head. No. He's cleaner in certain, like, he's cleaner, like he'll clean, because he's a programmer, so he'll clean up my computer space and all this kind of stuff. And I'm more of like, let's wipe down counters. Okay, let's put like underwear in the underwear drawer.
Yeah, you know, there are different things. Like, I don't even want to talk about it.
Okay.
I did make a note here. Why does he have so many socks?
Why
does he have he had an entire like IKEA bag full of socks.
What?
Unclear why that's there.
Unclear.
Okay, let's get through because I'm like really getting hot.
I know,
under
I'm
this
hot
blanket.
too. Mine's
all right,
flannel.
So we're getting to
okay.
We're at mine is like I chose the wrong blanket.
Lesson learned.
It's like a double comforter.
Oh my God. And my back hurts. Okay.
I think I'm getting a coronavirus
Oh my
fever.
God. Okay, so Bali. We need to cover Bali because Bali's the queen.
So they introduce Bali. Girl like sits down in her confessional with a glass of wine and she's like, I know I look good.
Well, I'm like, girl, your both shoes are breaking.
Yeah, that was so. Yeah, she goes to lunch with Anisha. But they tell us a little bit about her. Like, she's in her 40s, so she kind of bridges the gap between the aunties and the, like, younger kids. Mm-hmm. And she hangs out with both crews, which is awesome because she gets, like, double gossip. And she just, like, tells it like it is.
Yeah,
she's just like,
I love her.
I'm just, like, she's so unafraid.
Fucks given.
No fucks given. And so we find out that she was married to this guy in Bombay who's extremely wealthy. And all we find out is that they got divorced, but we don't find out why.
Yeah, and it's just like it's interesting that she had a whole other life. Like she was an editor at Elle, India.
I know. And like
her button.
And she had a
button.
Oh my God, that's like Bali's
button. I've never even heard of that.
I mean, the fact that was even like thought up as a thing for someone to have is amazing to me.
Right.
And the fact that she had that and she gave it up means that something went really wrong.
Big happened.
Yeah. Like,
and is it any of our business? Kind of. You're letting us in a little bit.
Bali, if you want to tell us, we will listen. So
we'll listen.
But if you don't
because she's a
us,
true queen. Okay. And it's like a queen has like a lot of goes through a lot of chapters. And so she's obviously in a chapter now. And I want to just peek in that other chapter with the button a little bit. So can we?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I also want to hear more about the second marriage that didn't work out, which we know nothing about.
And do we know whose child is? Because she has 2 children.
No, she has one. Her
daughter
Anushka.
Is gorgeous.
Her daughter is 17 and called her mom a bad bitch, which I am just like living for. I love that. And she is totally a queen. And she's just like, yeah, you know, look at me. I look amazing.
And the thing is I bring up the shoes breaking because if that were me and I was on reality television and I was like, I look good and I'm wearing my shoes and both of them broke, I would just like want to bang my head against the table. And she's like, well, that just happened and let's move on.
Yeah, she doesn't get fazed by anything, obviously. And I feel like that scene when she's at work and she's just like saying like everything.
She doesn't give a fuck. And everyone's just kind of looking at her like, huh?
Oh my God. I loved how she was like, what did she say? She was like, anal is just for special occasions and burn the bra and like all this stuff. And then at the end, she's like, oh my God, I need to like take back everything that I said.
Gosh. Like the reality of what she said, just like you could see it weighing on her face.
She's like, what am I doing? But I can't stop saying all these crazy things.
I know.
But she like, the fact that the editors like put that in means that they're giving her a good edit because they like her.
Oh yeah.
And like, how can you not like her?
All these people are so likable. Which is unlike a lot of Bravo shows where you're like, that person sucks, that person's cool.
I know, it's kind of like a new experience for me where I'm like, wow, I actually like want to be friends with these people. They seem like nice and normal. Yeah, there's some drama, but it's all like normal drama and it's kind of nice
and
it's
interfamily, you know. And I think that's what the hardest thing that when I am a little embarrassed to say I watch The Housewives, not that I'm embarrassed, but people always bring up like, I don't want to see women tearing each other down. Like that's kind of the feedback I get, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of get it, you know. There is kind of like negative vibes. But with this, it's just
kind of.
Oh yeah, okay. So a lot. I'm just trying to make myself feel better by watching these. But like with this, it's just like you can tell they all love each other. Maybe not Lopa and the rest of the
Yeah, I mean, there's a
cast.
good dose of drama in the auntie realm, but yeah, they totally do, and it's really nice. And so like Anisha and Bali are good friends.
I'm glad Anisha has like a single friend that
Yes.
like a strong single woman in her life that's not like I forget because Bali wasn't really pressuring anyone to get married. It's
No, I
like the
don't think
only
so.
auntie in existence, it seems like, in that community that's not
Well,
like pressuring.
she calls herself, she's like, I'm not your typical Indian woman, which is true. And then, oh my God, so we see her current
And I
boyfriend.
was totally wrong. I felt so bad. I'm like, this guy, he's not like a juice head. He's not as big as I thought he was. Is that
I
terrible?
mean, so I didn't, I guess we do find out he's an Olympian
That's
weightlifter.
crazy. Good for
So,
him.
like, we want to know more about how they met.
Are they
I
living
mean,
together?
I want to just like follow Bali
I
around for a
know.
day.
Just like put us in your pocket, Bali, and like, like bring us back in time to the button, even.
Totally. I think, anyway, she's like, I'm so glad she's in the show.
I know,
think
me too.
she's going to stir some shit up. And she had some pretty funny one liners.
Well,
Like at the pumpkin patch, she's like, I'm not going to, like, you're going to put flannel on this?
I
And she
know.
like points at her body.
I feel like Bali is me in Boulder in the sense of like people are all like, let's go camping and all this. And I'm like the Bali, like, nope, not going to camp.
Yeah, you're
Not
like, I'm just going to sit on the side and watch you guys go in those duck boats.
Exactly. And we got to meet Sean. Let's not forget Sean, who
Yeah, they didn't really go into
No.
his stuff very much, but Deanna is crushing.
I'm crushing on Sean. I don't know why. I told Indra, does he look like my husband? And you were like, no. And I'm like, okay, that's not the reason why.
Yeah, I don't really know, but you're into him, and you know what? I think he'd be into that.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't. But he's like the kind of guy, like I'd be because I worked Midtown and downtown, and like you'd have all these like Wall Street guys, and I'd
Yeah.
be like, ugh, like so grossed out. And then it's like the one would come by, like a Sean. I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah, dude, the Wall Street men.
oh
Blah.
gross.
But Sean, he lives in a compound, and then they talk about these statues, and so they show
So I forgot about.
on Instagram today there was like a closer look video of all of the statues.
What are they? Like I don't.
They're okay. They are 1,200 pounds each.
What?
Like, yeah, they had to have 6 people carry one in at a time.
What are they for?
I guess his grandfather was just like proud of the legacy that he'd built, and it's true. Like, so the Patels are like the owners of almost every like hotel and hospitality service in America. And
Oh,
I think
really?
they talked about that in that movie, Meet the Patels. They like went to a hotel or a motel one day, and they happened to be Patels, and the owners were Patels, and then they like opened up the whole back to them, and they all had like a meal together and all this stuff, because like it's a whole like community in America that's like done really well in the hospitality industry.
Because I remember Andrew, and this is going way back, but my husband's from Reno.
Yeah.
And he said that he would go to parties at an Indian kid's house whose parents owned the
Yeah.
hotels in Reno.
Yeah, and that's like
Is
a
that
very
do you think that's a Patel?
probably. I bet if you asked him, he'd say yes. That's a Patel. I bet that person's last name was Patel.
So they're all related.
Not really. I mean, I don't really know. I guess so. Like, is Sean's grandfather the one that started it all?
Yeah, I have so many questions. And now I
We
have
wanna know,
so many
Sean.
more questions about those statues.
Oh my gosh. I just,
So is there a statue of Sean?
yeah, but I guess the statue was made when he was like a 12-year-old
Oh
boy.
my God.
So it's like this little, honestly, like no shade, but the statues are kind of scary.
Oh, I bet. I bet Sean would even say they're kind of scary.
Can you imagine, like,
No.
in the middle of the night, you're, like, getting up to, like, go get a drink of water, and you're, like, walking down a creepy hallway with all these statues?
No. That's, like, my nightmare. And it's like the same thing with mannequins. It's like,
I know,
mannequins
they're
are
so creepy.
so scary. No, thank you.
I hate, like, scary movies with, like, ventriloquists and shit.
Oh, my God.
Not
That's
cool.
what I thought Peter looked like.
From The Bachelor?
Yeah, I thought he looked like a ventriloquist doll.
I do see that. I too. And then when he got the scar, it made him look even more like that.
Yuck. He sounded anyway.
So then another important scene that I wanted to touch on, because it seems like there's a lot of, it's kind of like hitting the Indian community on social media hard, was the little scene that we saw between Monica and her dad, Raj. And they're talking about his divorce.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, he's so sweet.
I love him. I'm obsessed.
He's like, I ruined my child's life. And she's like, no. And like, I don't know. They just had like such a nice little conversation.
The way he loves her is like so pure and beautiful.
And she loves him
too.
And then she's like asking him about his dating life. And he's like, well, you know. But I mean, the fact that I thought it was important that they talked about how he was like kind of shunned by the larger Indian community when he went through that divorce. And that's because divorce is really taboo. And it's not, you know, it's like, oh, there must be something really, really wrong and like what's going on. And it's like, you know, if you don't try everything to make it work. And I'm sure he did try everything to make it work. Sometimes marriages just don't work out. So, you know, I think in our first episode when we were talking about everyone, like I was surprised at how much divorce there is because you really don't see it a lot in the Indian community because I think people feel so shamed about it. And, you know, I'm glad that things are changing. I feel like the needle on the dial is moving slightly away from the shame and into more of acceptance on that.
And this seems like it's adding to that conversation too.
Yeah. And, you know, like Monica posted something today just saying like how the divorce was like this really huge thing in her life and it was really, really hard. And all these people were like asking her all these questions and she was like 15 and she was just wanted to cry all the time. And I was like, oh my God, that's so.
And she's an only child too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's hard for anyone whose parents get divorced, but particularly when like your entire community is like kind of shaming, like asking you questions about it. Like you're just a kid.
I'm like, how old am I? I'm in my late 30s, and my parents got divorced when I was 20, or 21, and I still don't want to talk about it to people.
Yeah, it's hard.
And I'm not 50. I wasn't in high school or anything, but you know, I couldn't even imagine, especially being an only child and not being able to talk about that with any of your siblings.
Totally. And you know, I think she would also probably say like, I'm really glad that my dad and mom made that decision because it's clearly like better for them.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's an interesting thing. When we were watching it, Patrick was like, did you just notice that Monica put 3 sweet and lows in her iced tea? And I was like, no, missed that and glad that you pointed that out to me.
Thank you. Yes. Well, and then I loved the dog.
The dog. Yeah.
Like these people have like my ideal life. Like
there were so many cute dogs.
I know. Well, the fact that it's just like a great family. You have like the golf cart.
Yeah. You have the dogs, the statues.
Get the dogs. You get the statues you get a button. And you get to take your dog everywhere in a stroller. Like there's nothing more. And because I have like a dog right now, we rescued a dog a year ago and the dog's not really well behaved. I was just even like, look at how well behaved that dog is.
I know. It's like just sitting there like
a little good puppy. And I was like, oh, this would be so perfect. I wish I could take my dog to like cocktails with my dad like this.
Absolutely. But, you know, I just want to put a PSA out there. Like, Monica, Sweet and Low is made out of aspartame.
What's that?
It's like an arson.
What? An arsenic? That's awful.
Honestly, it's like actually poison.
I used to put them in my Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
Yeah, like it's not good for you. So like
What should
Put
she
some
put
real
in?
sugar in there or
Okay.
no sugar.
What about
like
Splenda?
maybe, I don't know. I'm not an expert on this, but I'm just going to
I
say
just
sweet
didn't
and low
know
is
it's
not your
arsenal.
friend.
Oh my God.
No, arsenic. Oh my God.
Oh, never mind. Oh,
This is
boy.
embarrassing.
Okay. For me or you or both?
Both of us.
Okay.
I would say.
Okay.
No, but then, okay. So then there's like the guys going out to the barber
and there's
shop
Sean.
with like a handle of Jameson.
Oh,
that's like,
yeah. That was a little shocking.
I mean, didn't I call that there was going to be a lot of drinking
Yes.
amongst the males?
But they're not
And
like
here we
pounding
are.
it yet.
I mean, they didn't seem too drunk. I
No,
have to
not at
say.
all. And where were they going after that, though?
I don't know, but Amrit was talking about how he was out until like 4:30 the night
love that.
before, and like he's like, I'm gonna look at the guys when I go out.
I know.
Like I'm in a long distance relationship, but like I can look, and it's
Of
like,
course.
yeah, hell yeah, you can, whatever, no problem. And then Brian. So this is when they get into the whole conversation about like who's dated who, what kind of.
Oh my God. And Monica
women
and
are they
Sean went
into?
on a date.
I know, and Monica was clearly not feeling.
Oh my God.
Like Sean said to her in Hindi, like, you look so hot. And she was like, what?
What about his uncle and aunt? Like the scary shot of them in the window. Talk about a scary shot. It was just them outside of the window looking in.
Oh my God. And you know what? That rang very true to me. Like
Really?
I could absolutely see that happening.
The
They
thing
were probably,
is like we need the family karma gifts because that is a gift right there. Them on a date and then flashing to the aunt and uncle.
I know. You know what? I'm gonna try. How do you make a gift?
Oh fuck
Maybe-
if I know.
We'll see if we can try. and
Okay,
do
sorry.
that.
So I interrupted. Like that could have.
No, it's
been-
okay. So they're like talking about who they've dated, and we touched on this a little bit. Like Brian has never dated Indian girls, and Vishal's like, oh, like my brother didn't marry an Indian girl, and they're like, whoa. And Richa's like, and then they talk about how like Richa has dated all white guys or like mostly white men before she started dating Vishal, which is sort of interesting. And yeah, I don't know if we found out the details on many of the other people, but it's like there's definitely a mixture there.
I want to
And
know if Bali's second husband was white or Indian
I know.
or
I want
other.
to know. I wonder, like, if they're just not including it because it's not interesting, or if like
Right.
she didn't want to have it be part of the show, or maybe we'll find out more later.
Yeah.
Maybe he's like gonna enter like
my
episode
gosh.
6.
Yeah, but it's like so funny because it's like I need that, but then there's so much to take in with Bali. I kind of don't need that. It's not
Yeah.
like vital.
I mean, I can't wait to meet her Olympian
Oh my
boyfriend. I think
gosh.
his
I
name
want-
is O'Malley.
I
that
want
what they
him
said?
to bench press her.
Oh my gosh, he probably will.
He probably
Definitely.
could.
Definitely.
Boy, where did we end? I forget where this episode ended. Because it was like 11:15 last night, and I was like, ooh.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to say. Like, why, bravo, why the fuck do you show Family Karma at 10 or later in
know.
Colorado? Is it because you think no one's interested
At
in watching
Andy,
it?
it's so insulting that the East Coast, what time do they get it at? 10?
9.
9? 8?
And
whatever?
Central Time gets it at 8.
That's such bullshit.
So
and
we
we have
should
it at
get it at
10:15.
I feel like they're doing it because they think that no one in Colorado
Is that
or
for
Mountain Time
real?
cares. Like, that must be the reason why.
Can everyone like tweet at us or write to us to say where they're watching it from?
And what time it's on, please,
know.
because like this is really, Deanna and I are both moms, and like
On a Sunday night, it's hard.
I had to take a nap from like 8:45.
You do you,
to
and I'm
10.
just jealous. That's so awesome.
And I was like, but I'm committed. I'm going
I
to watch
know.
the show. So we did it. But
We did
so
it.
the end was like
know.
they're going to the pumpkin patch.
Oh, I know. And not a lot happened, I feel like, at the pumpkin patch. It
Well,
was
there
like,
was some stuff. Like Vishal in the car wouldn't talk about the gala.
oh,
still.
yes.
They
That was
sat
so
in silence in their
awkward.
flannel in 90-degree weather.
Oh, my gosh.
And Bali's like, fuck this. I'm not
Yeah,
wearing
fuck
flannel.
that.
And yeah, then we find out like a little tidbit that like Bali was super supportive of Amrit when he came out. Like, so we find out that they're also good friends, which is great. I totally support that. I love both of them so hard.
I want them in a room together. I want to go out with the two of them.
Can you imagine?
Oh,
it would be so fun.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like
get wild.
I feel like Bali is probably one of those friends who like she just like supports you.
Yeah, I think
like if
so
you're having
too.
a shitty day, she's just like fuck that person or whatever, you know.
And with that kind of language too, and you're just like, yeah, fuck that person. And I think like just her being a mom, as someone who is a mom, like it just makes her, that dimension of her just makes her that much more relatable.
Totally. She's obviously been through some shit. Like, again, like she gave up a lot in that first marriage. Like, not to say that like money is everything. It's clearly not. But like, she obviously had a pretty sweet life. Like, when you're living the high life in India, you are living the high life in India. It's beyond.
I bet.
Like, you have, as we see, like every need of yours taken care of. There's like a person who does that for you. Like she probably had like one person who came when she pressed the button.
I want to know again what her closet looked like and looks like now.
Oh my gosh.
Hopefully she took the bags and the clothes and the shoes.
We're still waiting to find out more about people's closets. All we've seen is Brian's bag of socks, and I'm not interested.
Have you visited your mom's closet since we talked last?
Oh, no, I haven't, because I've been trying to socially distance myself from them.
Oh, good.
Because they're older, and I don't want to kill them.
Okay.
Oh, God,
so it'll be
that's
like
so
a
morbid.
month. Well, it's tough times right now.
But it's real, right? Like,
yeah.
Everyone out there. Here's the reason why
guess.
social distancing is important. If you don't already know, it's because, like, even if you're young and healthy and you get the virus and it doesn't affect you, you could easily infect someone who could die from it.
Well, did you see that footage of the people in Florida on the beach? Like, gonna still go to the beach. It feels like a day off, and like all those people aren't like, taking it seriously.
Going to bars and partying and stuff. It's like, so now all that stuff is getting shut down because y'all couldn't contain.
I know.
yourselves.
It's like we have a hard time saying no to ourselves as Americans, and so like we deserve not the coronavirus, but we deserve to have our towns on lockdown because we're just like, we can't take things seriously.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. So, we asked for it, we got it. The other thing that happens at the pumpkin patch is we meet Pooja, who is Sean's girlfriend.
Yeah, so it was so confusing because they flashed back to the date with Monica.
Yeah.
And then how long ago was that?
That's a good question. I mean,
because
it was probably not that long if they showed it in the show.
And Pooja is absolutely stunning.
She's so cute too, and they clearly really like each other.
Of course,
they seem very into each other. They seem really young to me.
Yeah, very young.
But that's cool. So we didn't really learn much more about Sean in the episode. We definitely got a lot more of Bali, which I am totally okay with.
Yeah, let's keep going with Bali. And then we ended with Vishal's mom.
But before that,
I
guess we already talked about like Monica and Brian talking.
Yeah,
we already talked about how Monica was like, I don't know that I buy you being like, oh, I'm interested now. Like, we've been here before. I don't want to do this. And so then we get to Reshma and her, oh gosh. How did you feel about that? How did you feel about that honest thing she said to the producers?
I don't blame her when she's just like, I'm so done talking about this. It's like, it's not really being fruitful, like talking about it to the cameras. And I think she recognizes that.
No, and she was also like, I've talked about this so much and it hurts me and it makes me really upset and I want to cry and like I don't want to do that anymore. And like that's really, it just shows how like fraught this whole situation is. Like it's these people's kids and they're like, and then they're also feeling the same way. It's like, oh, that's our moms and they don't like each other. And how do we make this work? And like, I guess we missed the part where,
well, and I think like for me as a woman, I thought it was really powerful to see a woman just be like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Because I think as women, we're taught not to say no. and to be uncomfortable and to sit with it. And for her to see an older woman like put her foot down and kind of draw the line and get up, I thought that was really powerful.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I guess I was a little bit like doubtful about Vishal and Richa's connection in the first episode. I feel like they like went to that
oh my
zoo.
Gosh, that was my dream date.
Oh, it was so cute. And I feel like you did see, I can see their connection more now. Right. And I'm rooting for them. I think I've always been, but I am especially now. Like, I want them to work. I do think that they really care about each other, and like,
well,
it's like,
why
really
would you
great.
go through this whole thing with the parents if you didn't love each other?
Absolutely. Like, there's definitely a reason.
Oh my gosh, Chet Hanks is like, okay, so I sent Indra before this podcast started we were just talking about Chet Hanks, who's Tom Hanks' son, and she didn't really know who he was, so I sent the video of him announcing that his parents had coronavirus. And so we've been talking this whole time, and just like there's like this video stopped of Chet Hanks like shirtless and tattooed in the corner of my computer, and it's made it interesting watch.
I didn't even know Chet existed. How many kids do Tom and Rita have?
So Tom has
4, 5.
I think Chet's their only one.
No, Colin Hanks.
Colin's with another mom.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and I think Colin's hot.
Yeah,
Colin looks exactly like him, like Tom,
except like a little cuter, maybe.
You think so? I think it's like if you're a female of a certain era, like at our age, because remember when he was trying to like, he was in movies.
Yeah, actually, I did think he was pretty cute when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like, I actually did think that, and then at some point that just totally went away.
Well, it's just like fucked up, because I think it's like you wanted Tom Hanks to be your dad, and then you wanted to like go out with like his son, Colin Hanks, which is like so messed up.
Yeah, the whole thing is pretty weird. But you know what? Tom seems to be doing well.
I know, they left the hospital today.
They were in Australia, and I guess they're still there. And who knows? Are they going to be able to come back to the U.S.?
Who knows? I mean...
Well, Australia's not a bad place to be stranded, I guess.
I know. Well, all those huge spiders. Shout out to Australia if you're listening. I have no idea.
And the big snakes.
Oh yeah, God. I know. That's what keeps me from like really being jazzed about visiting Australia. No offense, but like I heard their house spiders are the size of a hand.
Yeah. That's like the whole wildlife situation in that part of the world. Like, I lived in South Africa for a couple of years.
Oh, how was that?
Well,
with
there
the
are
snake
these snakes
situation
there called puff adders.
What does that even mean?
They're super deadly, and like it's really not cool because they're everywhere. Like, there's this one like beautiful beach trail where like the whole thing was lined with them.
Did you see them?
Thinking about it, no, I never saw one.
Did you ever find snakes in your house or anything?
No, we lived in an apartment building, so that helped. We were on like the 4th floor, but I definitely thought about it all the time.
Did you ever see any weird spiders?
No, I'm not afraid of spiders. It's just snakes.
For me, snakes are like my worst fear. Like, I don't like the way they move. I don't like...
No, who does? Like,
I don't know.
What's with people who like snakes?
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
Like, I remember like my old roommate was like into snakes. We didn't have a snake. And she ended up dating this dude with like a lot of snakes, and I was like, ooh, never going to that.
No,
and then
like snakes don't like humans. They just don't. I'm sorry.
Well, and then I remember when I was younger, I watched a Cops episode.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, we got to go to this apartment. And they went to the apartment. And the reason why they were there is because a snake went from one apartment building, or not building, from one apartment to the other. And it went through the drain. And when I was living in apartments, I used to think about that all the time. Like, if someone had a snake and it got out, it could go through the pipes and just end up in your toilet.
Okay, I just want to say that we're going to tell one more story that's related to this, and then we have to stop talking about snakes. It's one of those things that we're like, I hate them so much, but I'm sort of weirdly fascinated by them. But like, So my old boss, she like moved to Kansas all on her own to like, she played with an orchestra or something. And she moved into this new house and it hadn't been occupied for a while. And she like doesn't have great eyesight. And she took her glasses off and got in the shower. And she's like, oh, what is that like really long hair that came out? And then she like put on her glasses and realized it was a snake in the shower.
How did it?
It was in the drain.
What?
And it came out and it was like down by her feet. I was like, did you fucking lose your mind?
I would
and she was
lose.
like, I just got out.
No,
and I
would
some
be
clothes,
like,
and then I
can
took
I
it
call
outside.
my realtor, please?
I would have run out of the house completely wet and naked and like had a heart
I would
attack.
have moved back to where I came from.
I would have been like, I can't do
that's
this.
how scared I am of snakes.
I totally get it.
Well, out here in Boulder, it's like we have the rattler problem, and like it's so scary because like I trail run, and so I do one earbud out, and you can just hear them. And
but they stay away from you for the most
sometimes,
part.
like you can see them like way far up, and you like have to like. Well, this has never happened to me, but I heard you like throw a rock, and that's why I'm like jealous of Patrick that he gets to run with one of your dogs because they're not gonna fuck with anyone. Like the dog can go ahead,
but I worry about my dogs getting bitten.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, okay, so okay,
we do Love is Blind.
But okay, so that was episode 2. Awesome, love Bali,
can't wait
love Sean, love the cast. Can't wait to see how things develop. Episode 3. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any episodes.
Family Karma Cast
with a K.
With a K. We're on all the major platforms.
Yeah, and you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
Are we going to go into Love is Blind or it's kind of late?
Yes, I can't.
Okay.
Let's do it short. And if you don't want to listen, you can
my gosh.
not listen.
Okay, where do we even start?
I mean, should we just talk about all the couples?
I don't have them memorized.
We're on episode 4, and so basically what happened at the end of that episode is like all the couples meet each other.
Oh.
In Mexico. So all these people that they were talking to who maybe they had connections with also are meeting up. And
what did you think of the whole Diamond? Is his name Carlton?
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
I mean, I thought Carlton was being an asshole.
I did too. I thought Carlton was projecting all of his past experiences onto Diamond.
Exactly. And like, I am not at all saying anything about like his choice to reveal.
No.
Like, I do think that you should tell someone about your true sexuality before you get engaged to them. And like, they could have talked about that in the pods. Of course.
And I think it was one of those where she came up to him at the pool and was like, I'm still trying to process this. So can we talk it out? And he all of a sudden like, defensive, like guns blazing kind of thing, and like, you don't get me, or like, you're judging me. And she's like, I'm trying to talk about this with you. Yeah,
and then he just like starts name calling.
Oh
and
yeah, it got so ugly so fast.
Yeah, and I was, I'm glad that they just ended it. Like, we didn't need any more of that toxicity happening. No. I feel like they both, like, I don't know about Diamond, but Carlton has some stuff he needs to work on. And
I know.
I mean, I feel for him. Like, he clearly, like, how we were talking about, like, the way gay people are treated in the Indian community last time. Like, I think it's equally bad, if not worse, in the Black community.
Right.
And he's clearly gotten a lot of crap about it in his life. Although he was saying, like, every other girl I've told has never had an issue with it.
Yeah, I couldn't follow, because he said that in, like, one beat, and then another beat he was like, this is always a problem.
Yeah, he's like, no one accepts me.
And again, like, this is his truth, and he for me, it's like he has a right to kind of explain, like, reveal his sexuality, because it's such an awkward situation that it's like, it makes sense that he kind of wanted to do it face to face. But the thing that didn't make sense is he wasn't willing to kind of talk it out. He just automatically got defensive.
Yeah, and he like threw the ring into
shit. I know. I was like, if I was there, I'd be like diving into that.
Yeah. So so that's
over.
One.
Who else do we want to talk about?
Okay, so Cameron and Lauren, they're what I am obsessed with.
I know.
Like Lauren especially, she is so cute and adorable.
Gorgeous.
She's gorgeous. Obviously,
they're the first couple that got engaged, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I just love that this like white dude from Maine and this like amazingly beautiful woman from Detroit.
Oh,
like
my God.
Two different worlds. Am I right?
Oh my
And
gosh.
and it's like they connected through this thing, and then okay, here's my question. Like, they must have talked about their race.
They must have, because remember when that one guy was like, I picture you a black girl to diamond, or maybe it was her, and she was like, but I'm white.
But like then Lauren in the confessional is like, I didn't know what race he was, or like I didn't know any of these things. And I'm like, wait, is that true? Like,
I don't know.
They must have talked
There
about
was definitely
it.
one couple that didn't even explain what they looked like.
Yeah, like one of the white couples.
I think it was the one, who's the shorter girl with the long...
Kelly.
Brown, yeah, I could like care less about that couple.
I know. I actually had to write their names down because I couldn't remember.
And then
Kelly and Kenny.
And then there's Gigiana. Is it Gigiana?
I think it's just Gigi.
Okay, Gigi.
I think her name is Giannina.
That's it. Giannina. And then
but she goes by Gigi.
Her robot partner. What's his
the redhead?
Name? Yes.
They're
not going to make it. And again, don't spoil
really?
it. I don't think they're going to make it. No. I don't think they'll make it.
Oh, actually.
And I don't think Mark and that other girl will make it.
Well, obviously Jessica and Barnett are going to end up together. Like, that's
You think so
clear.
though?
I mean, I've been waiting for that shit to materialize since.
I'm so scared of Barnett's girlfriend or fiance, the ex-army woman.
I can't believe he chose her.
I can't believe that she was like, this is like a problem I have with people in relationships. Like, oh, we started off the relationship and this person made me crazy, but like looking forward to the future. You know what I mean? Remember when like they hugged and met for the first time? She's like, you drove me so crazy. He's
know.
like, this is what you have. Like, he basically showed his cards and was like, he literally said, this is what you have to deal with in the future.
Well, yeah. And then he said in his confessional thing, he's like, she's going to make me really happy. I'm probably going to mess her up. But and I'm like, yeah, you're such a creep.
And
like,
it's
you can
crazy.
tell he's like the definition of like a frat boy.
That guy is
like,
gross.
Asshole.
I'm surprised he got the most like ass, and it's not even ass. The most like spoken word time. Like,
well, I feel like
he's
it's
so
just,
gross.
I feel like it sadly is like this commentary on like women hating themselves, and I say that because like
I could see that
because he's like all of his like banter or whatever was really just like a lot of sexualized talk that was like basically demeaning to women if you really look at it.
Man that like if a man came up to me with the ukulele, I'd be like, that shit's a turn off.
But also like he couldn't really whatever.
Yeah, it was just all over the place.
But all those girls were all into them. And by the way, LC, the one that he like didn't choose at all, she seemed the coolest.
They're all gorgeous, obviously, but she was gorgeous. I was like, that guy sucks. Like you.
And also she just seemed like the realest of all of them. And like, I was like, obviously he didn't choose her because she's not dumb enough.
And do you think Mark's going to make it to any altar or no?
Oh, Mark. So I feel like Jessica and Barnett are maybe made for each other. They're clearly both kind of like shady. And like Mark, poor guy, he's so in love with her.
I know, but she's not.
She's like,
the one
he's
for
not
him.
my type, and I'm like, he's adorable.
That's what I was telling Andrew. I was like, he's like, who's the best looking one? I was like, Mark. He's like, are you serious? I was like, yes. He seems like he's the best looking. He seems the sweetest and the most genuine. That's what. So I was saying he presents short, and I couldn't tell if he was short or not.
He is short. Like you can see that like he is the same height as Jessica. And I think when she was saying I normally date bigger guys, I think that's what she meant. That like it's usually men who are taller than her.
Oh, see, this is why it's like I was so bored at the beginning of an episode, and then at the end I was like, what?
I mean, I totally saw that coming, and of course, there it is. Like,
do you think anyone else will break up?
Predictions. I think Barnett and Jessica are gonna find each other.
Okay.
Like, I think Amber is just super annoying, and like Barnett is gonna get annoyed with her. And then
my
husband
also
goes,
really
he goes,
oh, he goes, she has no butt. like she came out, and that was the first thing out of her mouth.
Andrew,
yeah,
good.
She has no butt.
Nice observation.
Because I was like, oh, she's so cute. And she goes, she has no butt.
I mean, I think Kelly and Kenny are gonna make it.
Which one are Kelly and Kenny?
The like boring white couple.
Oh yeah.
Gigi is Venezuelan.
She's smoking, and I don't think she's going to make it.
Yeah. You know, now that you say that, I don't think
she's going to make it. I think it's just like, I think she like, she fizzles out. Like, I think she's hard. Like, what is that saying when it's like, you shine bright, but you fizzle out quick or something?
Yeah. That's probably true. And then, I mean, I just want Cameron and Lauren.
They're the best. They're the best looking. I want to see their babies because they were just talking about their babies in that episode. And it was so sweet. And the way he looks at her.
I know.
He's just like, you can tell
it's like he's saying to himself, like, I won the lottery.
I know.
Like,
you can tell every time. And I don't think, from what it seems like, the way she receives him is like she's never been treated like this before.
I know. She's so like, oh, that's so nice.
I know. Like
all this.
I think she can't believe her luck.
Well, they are. If they don't work out, I'm just gonna like quit.
Love is dead.
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
No,
I'm just gonna like cry for the rest.
They're the only ones. And like, just like the backwoods that Barnett like came out of. I'm just like, go back, bring Jessica. You guys seem like fit for Deliverance or something.
Barnett's a real asshole. I don't like that guy.
It was like there was something about like at one point he had like holes in his like sweatpants. Again, shout out to sweatpants. He was just like picking at him, like talking romance to the girl through the wall. I was like, this is really touching upon something very weird.
He's just like, I don't like how clearly misogynistic he is.
Do you think he's gotten a lot of chicks? Like, if I saw him in a grocery store, I wouldn't have thought that guy was like got chicks at all.
Well, I mean, everyone was saying how cute he was, and like, I guess I sort of see it. I feel like
he has like do you know who Teresa Giudice is?
Oh yeah, from one of the Housewives.
Yeah, so he has like a Teresa Giudice like hairline that comes like way far down his forehead.
I mean, I don't know. This is what I'm saying though. He like goes for girls who like aren't. They want like a guy to mistreat them. I also feel like there's a real undertone. Someone on Facebook today made a post. They're like, so is Love is Blind actually just like low-key Christian propaganda?
Oh, shit. Maybe.
And I was like, actually, I think so. Like Amber talks about her abortion and they definitely make it like, they tell the story like, don't you feel like they were making it really
now I'm
negative?
seeing it. Yeah.
And then Jessica's like, I'm looking for a Christian man and like blah, blah, blah.
Gross. I mean, if you're a Christian, that's fine. It's hard. It's
don't
hard
push
right
that
now.
agenda on
just
me.
Don't push that agenda.
I don't need that during the coronavirus.
I mean, I didn't even tell you on Twitter. I've been like just happy-go-lucky going through Twitter, and I made one comment on a Trump post, on a Trump tweet, and all the people were asking me to find Jesus, and I was like, fuck, not now.
What did you say?
It was just like he was talking something stupid, and then I made a post like, you're an idiot or something, and then or it was just about having National Prayer Day yesterday. And it was like, well, this is like, we need more than National Prayer Day, right? And then so people were kind of like, And I think I said something like that. And then everyone's like, we pray you, like 2 people were like, we pray you find Jesus. And then I put an Arrested Development, like, what's her name? The mom Bluth, like rolling her eyes and drinking. And they're like, I guess, you know, like just look for Jesus and stuff. And it was that it's the world we live in, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, if you are Christian in America, you are winning.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
that's the only religion that's respected in this country.
100%. And that's why I think like with family karma and stuff, because I noticed that Anisha she had, and I'm not calling it a crucifix, but in Catholicism, they have crucifix where you pray on the beads.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was she doing?
I don't know. I mean, obviously her parents are pretty religious.
Yeah.
If they're like having her do all these chakra things and whatever. I mean, a lot of Hinduism is just like really, it's a like superstition and stuff like that. I wonder how much of it she takes actually like seriously.
For real, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, all I'm saying is like, you know, all other religions besides Christianity are basically oppressed in this country.
No, and I agree.
So
I know we can end it
there.
Yeah, email us, familykarmacast
@gmail.com.
And you know, tweet at us. I'm since I'm freelance and my work is kind of dried up right now, I'm on Twitter nonstop.
Yeah, let's be real. All of us at home, whether we're working or not, like it's hard to focus.
We're avoiding our kids. Just kidding.
We're trying to like find levity. So, you know, listen to this podcast, tweet at us, like DM us.
And you know, it's like I do feel like this show and this podcast is such a blessing. Isn't it weird like it came into our lives at this point?
Yeah, it was like we didn't even know we needed it.
I know. And it's
so
just,
we hope
we
are loving it, and we hope that some of you are at least enjoying an iota of what we're doing. And if you are, like, give us a good review, 5 stars. Like, it really helps get our name out there and hopefully attract more listeners. So
anything else?
Yeah. I think that's it. I think we covered a lot. Namaste, bitches. We'll talk to you next time.